Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Well, let's kick things off with a look at the upcoming Stanley Cup Final, Jim. Between the LA Kings and the New Jersey Devils? Who saw that coming?
Not me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but not me for sure. Both good, strong teams. They both had good playoffs and everything. Strong goaltending. Occasionally, the Devils have had less than strong goaltending from Brodeur, but he's throwing out the 2-pad stack here and there to keep them running. But Kings might have the size advantage. They're a big, strong team, and they've just kind of out-muscled everyone so far. But other than that, I'd say these two clubs match up pretty well. And there's good storylines on both sides, like, of course, Martin Brodeur being a 40-year-old, multiple Stanley Cup winner, back there again. Ilya Kovalchuk, people never had a good thing to say about him for quite a while now, and he had never won a playoff series. Now he's in the Stanley Cup Final. Dustin Brown's been a beauty for the Kings. Dustin Penner might be a multiple Stanley Cup winner here pretty quick. Sutter coming in to turn that team around.
Yeah.
There's definitely no shortage of storylines, and it should be good. I wonder who the first guy to really get mad at Dustin Brown is going to be, though, because that's been his thing every round, is getting somebody with a big hit or something like that and just becoming the guy that everyone loves to hate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving Dustin Brown right now. We're going to talk about him a little bit later on, but Marty Brodeur, you're right. Doing the pad stacks old school. Love seeing it. The storylines. Kovalchuk, the $100 million man. I love all of it. And that's why I love the Stanley Cup playoffs. I really do. Really anybody can get in. I just, the biggest thing for me is has LA played 3 extra games? They've played, 19 games or 16? They've played no games so far this year. So they're coming into this completely healthy. Oh, not completely. Nobody's completely healthy, but rested. And so that's what's really interesting to me. So I asked Jim, who have you got winning it all?
I'm going to go with the Kings. I'd like to see a team from the West. I always lean West when my team's not in it. But there's guys on both teams that I'd like to see win. But I think the Kings have had just such a turnaround season and such a surprisingly dominant performance in the playoffs. So I'd like to see them close it out. How about yourself?
Yeah, I got to go with the Kings as well. I really do want to see Dustin Brown win it because of just the way the guys played. Although, you're right. Nobody's had anything good to say about Kovalchuk, and I am in that on that bus, driving that bus actually. So I don't want to see Kovalchuk win as much as I desperately want to see Marty Brodeur, legendary Canadian goaltender, last of the kind of stand-up hybrid goaltenders, try to win. I really do want to see that, but I just not as much as I think the Kings are going to do it. So. Let's take a look back at the West Final for a second here. It ended with a bit of controversy for sure. Big hit by Dustin Brown, the captain in OT. Then a goal right away from our good friend Pancake Penner, Dustin Penner. After the game, a few players went overboard in their comments to media, as well as in the lineup, the handshake lineup, Jim, including goalie Mike Smith. What was going on?
Well, let's just start with after the game when he threw his stick towards the refs.
Yeah.
That's a bit much, and I know you're upset, man. But you need to calm it down. The Coyotes said the reffing was bad. They insinuated that the refs wearing the same color jerseys as the Kings. So you're owned by the NHL.
Yeah, that's right.
Who employs the refs? So don't even try to make that connection. That's right. When I heard them say that, I was like,
yeah.
You realize that every other team in the league pays to keep you going, right?
That's right.
So maybe shut up.
Yeah.
But I understand the emotion right after. But the other thing that was hilarious was that Mike Smith came up and said that he thought the Dustin Brown hit should be worthy of a lifetime suspension.
Lifetime.
Yeah, because he said, well, if the Rafi Torres one was 25 games. Rafi Torres, of course, being a repeat offender who jumped at a guy's head with his elbow.
Yeah.
Well, that's 25 games. This guy should be a lifetime. And then he came back and said, well, maybe that's a bit much. But it wasn't. And this is a guy who watched Derek Morris jump out and like a picture perfect knee on knee a few games before, and he just got a 2-minute penalty. But this is a lifetime ban.
Right.
Okay, Mike, just take it easy. Work on your dives.
Yeah.
We all remember in the first round of the playoffs, that was pathetic. Other players, it was all the same thing, kind of like, the refs, and that's. I mean, we all blame the refs when we lose, but
I mean, I have once or twice.
Yeah. That's why I could never be a ref.
That's right.
I ref ball hockey one summer and spent the whole time chirping myself.
Just angry.
Yeah, but it was. I think it was a case of letting the media into the room a little too early.
I would say so. Yes.
But and the thing with Shane Doan, he had a little confrontation in the handshake lineup with Dustin Brown. He said afterwards that Brown was trying to explain himself, and he just said, I don't want to hear it right now. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But
yeah, no kidding.
Either way, it's a dramatic ending to the game for sure.
It was very dramatic. Shane Doan just went off in the media too, and I feel bad for that guy. Maybe his last year, although we've said that the past 5 years. But and I understand where the anger comes from, because these guys, whether they're multi-million-dollar players or not, are all, they bleed for their teams during the playoffs, and I completely understand the anger, because there's so much emotion that goes into it. You're absolutely right. There's no excuse for throwing a stick at the ref or Mike Smith, going off like that. I think that's a really good point that you made, that maybe they let the reporters in a little early. That's actually not a bad little point. I like that. Yeah,
they were saying that on CBC that give the players a little more time to kind of
maybe take a breath. That's interesting. I like that.
Say that stuff to each other so they don't have to say it to the.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of the Stanley Cup Finals, the CBC has done something interesting and controversial. CBC never does that. It's weird. Going on during the series aimed at female non-hockey. Actually, to tell you the truth, it's aimed at all female fans, which is half the problem, Jim. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's called While the Men Watch.
Right.
And it'll be two ladies doing commentary of a game, kind of picture-in-picture sort of deal on the internet. But it's more along the lines of who needs a makeover than he shoots, he scores.
Oof.
Seems a bit silly. There's a lot of talk that maybe it's kind of a bit sexist, and that you couldn't reverse those roles and have people be like, oh my God, this is gonna be so awesome. Like if you and I did the whole beach volleyball deal,
right?
There'd be right away there'd be people saying, you can't say that stuff. No, you can't say that.
That's not right.
But if it's them, I guess I can't believe the CBC's doing it, which that's one thing. But how is that going to be entertaining for more than a couple of minutes? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, if you're trying to target that demographic of women who don't mind being offended that they've been targeted like this in the first place, and then we'll sit there and listen for 3 hours. I mean, I can't imagine that being very many women, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's going to be a huge hit. Either way, you got to think it's sexist to a number of different people, including men, I think. But mostly, I think it's sexist to, there are many hockey-watching women, especially in Canada. So I'm a little surprised that they did this, and it's completely sexist against them. So, but like you and I were both saying off the camera here, I mean, we'll both watch the first one just to see how it goes. If not, just to chirp it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me that it's a totally it's like a U.S. thing to do.
It is big time.
Yeah, how can we boost ratings? I don't think there's going to be a ratings problem in Canada, the Stanley Cup Final.
That's right. Exactly. Well, before we talk a little basketball, how about the latest Dominik Hasek? That's right, folks. Dominik Hasek rumors.
Apparently, Dominik Hasek is considering a comeback at the tender age of 47.
47, yeah.
If he can still play, personally, I'm all for it.
Go for it.
Because I love seeing these guys come back and play, deep into their 40s, and
sure,
why not? I mean, he's a character, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know who would take him.
I don't know who would take him. Maybe
but
the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I suppose someone will invite him.
No.
If he is serious about a comeback and he's good enough to play, I hope he finds a team to play with. But, that one took me by surprise this week.
Apparently he works out every day, and hey, if he can still play, good for him. Let's see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. All right, some NBA talk now. 4 teams are left in the playoffs. Who have you got to win it all, Jim?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if Miami's got enough this year to do it. They're destined to win to win a championship at some point. Boston Celtics look pretty good.
Yeah, I've been looking great.
OKC's looking pretty good. There's some good teams. I'm kind of hoping that Oklahoma City goes the distance.
I don't mind that.
I like that Durant. He's a beauty.
I don't see how Miami doesn't win it. The way they're playing, the way that LeBron and specifically Dwayne Wade is just out of his mind right now. So I don't see how Miami doesn't win it. But I would love to say, I would love to see OKC win it. That'd be all right.
Yeah, and I wonder how long it'll be before we start hearing the fourth quarter jokes about LeBron James. So far, so good.
So good.
I remember we had a good time with that last year, as I know millions around the world also did.
That's right. Well, we're going to move on to the GABBYs now, folks. These are good and bad by you. Take the best and the worst of the world of sport and usually make a little bit of fun of it. This one, though, not making fun of this. Let's give a good to Chelsea's, let's see if I can do this, Didier Drogba. Who is leaving, not bad, right? Who is leaving Chelsea after 8 seasons as one of the club's stars. He leaves on top, though, having scored the winning penalty in the Champions League final. How about that? Yeah,
it was a beauty. I don't know if you watched the game or not, but Bayern Munich scored first late in the game. He tied it up. Then he gave up a penalty with a bad challenge in extra time, but they didn't score. And then he came back to score the winning penalty. So very dramatic stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. A good to Barcelona for winning the Copa del Rey on Friday, and Coach Pep Guardiola's final game as manager. It was their only trophy win of the season. And yes, Jeff, Leo Messi scored.
Leo Messi scored.
73 goals on the season.
Absolutely amazing. We've been reporting on Leo Messi this whole time, and sure enough, he did score. How about that?
Yep.
And how about a good to Cincinnati Reds fan Caleb Lloyd? This is great. He didn't just catch 1 home run ball. He caught 2 at a recent game. What makes it crazier is that he got 2 back-to-back homers. Jim, he was sitting at home playing video games. His buddy phones him up and says, you should come to the Reds game today. Why don't you come? Catches 2 back-to-back homers.
That is insane.
Absolutely.
And like a true gentleman, he gave one back to the team because it was the guy's first home run, and he gave the other one to his buddy.
Wonderful.
But he had the other one in his hand when he caught second one.
And he's like, I've never caught a home run before. I've never really caught anything before, he said. He's like, all right.
If I'm ever at a baseball game, I'll bring a glove.
Yeah.
But I'm scared to death that the ball's going to come at me.
That's right.
I'm just like, every time it pops up, I'm like, oh no.
Don't be me. I was sitting next to a guy once, got hit by the ball. Absolutely. Oh. He was looking the other way and pop up, and I'm like, guys, the ball's coming towards us. And then they looks back at the last second, whack, hit him in the shoulder. It was hilarious. I mean, hurtful, but hilarious.
Hurtful, but hilarious. Yeah. All right. Back to soccer. Let's give a bad to the fans of Argentine Team Racing Club who cut off a vehicle carrying 2 players and threatened to shoot one of them in the knee if they didn't win their next game. The worst part is it's a 16th place team. So
look out.
What would matter if they obviously had some money on it or something, but
no kidding.
Gone up to the kneecaps and
you better win.
You better win.
That's absolutely fan. Soccer is so crazy in other places of the world. A bad to the brand new baseball stadium in Miami, which already needs repairs to its scoreboard. Miami Marlins outfielder Giancarlo Stanton hit a grand slam in a game against the Rockies that hit the scoreboard and literally broke it. I wonder if he has to pay for that. But that's life.
You can just see the GM and the owner and everyone going,
shoot.
Be happy. But hey, talk about leaving your mark.
Oh, totally. I love it.
Finally, a bad to the situation in Orlando.
Yeah.
The Magic fired Stan Van Gundy and parted ways with their GM this week. There are rumors that Dwight Howard still wants out.
Yeah.
Remember, there was rumors that he wanted the coach fired and all this, but he says he had nothing to do with Van Gundy getting fired. But you gotta assume it had something to do with it. And who knows if he's even back there next year?
Well, can you imagine them firing their GM and Stan Van Gundy, of course, who's one of the greatest basketball coaches ever, and Still Dwight, for Dwight Howard, and then still he wants to leave. Like, there's nothing good going on in Orlando right now.
They all came out and said that it wasn't him that asked for it, but that doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, exactly. Well, the punchline this week is Jessica Ennis, who had a personal best snatched away from her, Jim.
Yeah, she won the 100-meter hurdles at a track meet in Manchester, where they only put out 9 hurdles instead of the customary 10, so the race was shorter than it should have been. How does that even happen?
Jim,
I mean, it doesn't take a lot,
right?
To count out 10. And there's all these people watching, and there's the organizers are there, and no one thinks to go, does that look short to you?
That's right.
Nah, it's fine.
You and I talked last week about umpires and how, you know, if your whole job is to count balls and strikes, and it's pretty, like, you should probably be able to do that. Well, this is the same thing here. This isn't like, when you take apart your car and you put it back together and there are parts left over. Like, didn't they realize when they put them out and there were like 5 hurdles still over in the corner, and they're like, nah, there should be extras. Like, what? I don't know.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, well, am I good now?
Yeah, you're good right now.
All right, I'm good right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, you're good now.
Well, we'll do one more thing then. FIFA President Sepp Blatter is asking a task force to look into other ways of deciding tied games instead of a shootout. So let's brainstorm. What should we do?
How about they make the net bigger every 5 minutes?
I like that. Extra time. I like that. I'd say more players every 5 minutes. That's what I like. That all of a sudden
introduce a second ball.
Use a second ball. I like that. And
that's all.
Team diving contest for sure. That's
of course.
The way to do it. I like it. That's fantastic. I think there should be, and then you can invite the fans down too. Like if you're that far in, then maybe to the death match between fans. I think that would be a good way to do it. Anyways, folks, we're breaking up, so let's get out of here while we can. That's our 15 Minutes of Fame up for this week. Join us again next week for a whole new 15 Minutes of Fame. In the meantime, I'm Jeff Driscoll. And Jim's completely broken up. I love it.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
There it is. Fantastic. I like it. All right. Bye, folks.